Hi everybody.
Hi everybody.
Back tonight to do some more reflections, and tonight we're looking at tips to love yourself.
There's actually 12 altogether.
And this is influenced again from all the, for me, the Heal Your Life work that I'll be involved in, but equally a lot of the stuff that we do together too, about ultimately if you find a bit more love for yourself, then the world changes all of a sudden. So we have 12, and I'm hoping you're going to read them because I have no glasses.
I was thought you were going to say that I was going to read them and I was going to go tell all the lovely people why. Anyway.
Say it like that. You're going to give it away.
Do you care that you've got no glasses?
No, I'm sitting here.
I'm leaning number one here.
Well, here I'm laughing because I'm sitting here with a piece of paper and I can't see a damn thing. So go on.
Okay, I look after you.
Okay, you look after me.
Right. 12 tips on how to love yourself. So Debbie's probably going to give you most advice on this, as I always say.
No, you
can ask me anything about paint underneath the posts if you like. Stop all criticism. That's number one.
Well, how many times in our workshops in Creative Conversations, one of the main things that we talk about is the inner critic.
Yeah, it is indeed.
And the inner critic I talked about in my last video and around art. So stop all criticism. It doesn't actually serve us, and you know, here I'm saying it to you, but I know I do it myself, but it's constantly trying to just be on top of that.
Listen to how you're speaking to yourself is really important step in starting that, isn't it? Like,
yeah. And it's amazing how many times I'll hear people say, or myself, okay, I'm so bloody stupid, what did I do that way for?
I know. Or mine's usually maybe slightly, but I'm usually a dick. I remember told you about the wee called Kirsty have. I'll just get on back over here to my dickish little life. Jog on.
So stop all criticism.
You've a great way of working with that, because you've a way of saying how you should look at when you're doing that to yourself. You wouldn't speak to a child like that.
Oh,
do you remember?
absolutely.
That was very powerful when you gave that to me.
I think
Very
sometimes
powerful.
and that is a good tip actually, just to, if you can see yourself as a small child, or if there's small children around you, and you hear yourself, like even for me, I'm so bloody stupid. If I actually look at the children around me and think, God, I would never speak to them that way, so why am I speaking to myself that way? Because I do believe there's a wee inner child in all of us, so yeah, if it takes that to help you, then yeah, use that as a tip.
But start with actually listening to how you speak to yourself.
Okay. Number two,
forgive yourself.
Oh, that's a harder one, isn't it? Well, again, the way that I would work with that one mostly is, if you think about today, we woke up this morning, and I hope that none of us woke up with the idea of, well, I'm going to make a complete arse of the day. I'm going to get everything wrong. I'm going to hurt somebody. I'm going to do this. So I always think, well, if you think back into the days that maybe you're giving yourself a hard time for, it's true those days too that you never set out to harm anybody, or unless you did, of course, that's a different matter. But for most of us, we're doing the best we can with the given information that we have. So do your best. What about you? Do you want to say anything about that one?
I find that very challenging in my life, forgiving myself, because we would talk about carrying a lot of guilt and shame and stuff like that. So I find that one very, very difficult. Until I done a wee bit of work with you on that as well, actually, and looking into that. And that's probably why part of my anxiety is coming this year too, because that's something I've really worked on, really worked on. And also forgiving other things for myself as well.
Yeah.
Too.
And because that one's forgive yourself, and again from a Heal Your Life, it's even forgiving other people, and we have to be ready on that one. That's a biggie. But I often think, rather than look at it forgiving other people, it's just forgive yourself, because it's giving yourself, it's that hard time. Even when we hold things, it's what it does to us, but not easy, and not always as easy as just saying the words. You know, for a lot of us, it's depending on what has happened. It's not about forgiving the person, because a lot of people have been harmed in very, very difficult ways and very abusive ways. So it's not so much about forgiving the act because the act is wrong, but it's about just forgiving yourself for holding on to it because that in itself harms you.
Very much so.
So it's trying to let go of that. Really.
And I think in the forgiving yourself thing, I think how I started to look at that was thinking back like at different things that I felt I needed to forgive myself for. I've actually a painting that I would use in our program that explores that. But I sort of like I know that all of things in life are experiences, and I know that in them time and places that I thought I was doing the right thing at that time and place, and I know that I also was a different person today because I believe we're constantly changing.
Yeah.
And then I like to think, I always say a wise man once told me to be grateful for everything in our lives because it makes us who we are today. And I know that without all of the experiences I have, I probably wouldn't be affected even at my job today or anything without having those deep understandings. So so I forgive myself, and that's something I found like a real big 10-year journey on that one is for me, you know. So yeah. Anyway, number three, don't scare yourself.
God, that's what I was talking about in mine too. Well, I was thinking just even scaring myself with the painting that we talked about in the last video. What are you scaring yourself with?
I think, well, we're sort of talking, I suppose doing this sort of stuff too, putting myself out there a wee bit more because there was for I'm running my business 10.5 years now, and I think it wasn't until maybe a year or two ago there was actual photographs of me on the page. I always hid behind everybody else, even the girls that work with me and stuff. I would always have sort of hid. So it's stepping out, or you would say stepping into your light, sort of thing too. That's what scares me, sort of thing. But in doing that, it's like feel the fear and do it anyway. Like Susan Jeffers would say. And then I'm doing it with you. She's here beside me. We were talking about this before we came in earlier about this being scary, and then you come out with something lovely because you said why we're actually not scared. We started doing it. We're not really caring. We're not caring what we look like really or what way we're coming across. We're just being ourselves. But what did you say earlier?
Oh God,
the reason why we're moving past the fear is because
we want
our purpose.
Yes, our purpose is more to get the message out that you can be the best you can, which is greater than our fear.
Yeah, so our purpose in wanting to reach out and empower and help lots of other people is more important than us sitting here worrying what people think about us on a camera.
Yeah, and that's been changing. You were talking about asking me about like coaching earlier on. And that's what I would say too about that. It's like when you get to this place that you're no longer in the place that you're no longer comfortable in the place that you've lived your life, then it's ready to move. And that's what you and I are doing. We're no longer comfortable now. We're like, the butterfly wants her wings out now, so she's not staying in that cocoon. Right, what have we got next?
Number 4, be gentle, kind and patient with yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Just, again, the easiest way to say that and the quickest way to say that is, how do you treat your best friend? How do you treat someone you love? And start to bring some of that to yourself. It's actually very simple. You know, do you go out and get your friend a bunch of flowers every now and again? Do you take 10 minutes to listen to them? Start to do that to yourself. Write in a journal, 10 minutes of listening to yourself. So that's an easy one to do. Easy one to say, but more difficult to do.
Putting a wee bit of self-care in place is really important around that too, isn't it? Right? Yeah. Number 6, praise yourself.
Kind of same thing, isn't it? Acknowledge all your strengths.
Check me out.
Check you out.
I'm great. I'm great. I am. I'm well great. What
you said that yesterday actually in our video around your experience and how you now see yourself as the strongest woman.
But that took a really powerful traumatic experience, which I am so grateful for. That was the gratitude video we were talking about. Honestly.
But if you think about that, there's also a Shirley that I know that wouldn't have acknowledged that. Especially, you might not have even acknowledged that to me, let alone on a camera.
Well, I have. What was mad about that is like, I mean, for years the people I have a very close circle of friends, and the people around me, you know, would always say that I'm a real strong this and I'm strong that and I'm strong the other, but I never seen it. I've always looked at myself as being weak and all those things, you know. So coming through that experience, I was actually driving to my first job after I'd come out of the other side of surgery, and then I had all the drug withdrawal and all that to deal with. out the other side of surgery, driving to my first job, and there's a wee guy, the singer we went to see, Dave C. Camblin, his song, I'm Still Alive, was playing on a CD in my car, and I just got really emotional, and I was crying, and I phoned my older son, who would have done a lot of the work with the music with David at the time, and I was like, Thomas was like, what's wrong? And I was like, I'm still alive. Yeah. I'm actually still alive. Yeah. I can't believe that I just came through all that and I'm still alive. And it was like a really sort of like a real enlightening emotional thing. I remember thinking that's my anthem for this year. I am still alive. Do you know what I mean? Very, very powerful. And in that moment realising, I mean, if I was looking at somebody else outside of that, going through all of that, I mean, I was ill, I had to move home, I had to find somewhere to put my business, I had no money, my relationship had just broke up, my car was taken to Eddie and transport, do you know what I mean? But I got through all of that by myself, all of that, and I realised that only a strong woman could do that.
But you know what you're doing, even just, and I want to acknowledge that for you, even on camera here, talking on video, I'm thinking of women that I know now that hopefully will be watching this, and just what you have said will give them so much inspiration for many different reasons around I'm still alive. That's powerful.
Still alive. I can't believe 51 years old. So many traumas still here, do you know? And but still I rise.
And here you are acknowledging it to the world. So that's
without that, especially that last experience, without that, I wouldn't have come to know that, which is why I'm so grateful for the darkest times in my life are the times when I've came to know who I am, really deeply, like, and I'm eternally, it's making me very emotional. But you know, I'm coming closer every day to knowing me, and that's to me that's very, very hard journey, but very, very, very worthwhile.
And again, in listening to you and knowing the journey you've come through, I suppose that's what I love about not only being your friend, but also how that relates to everything that I do, because it's coming alongside people to see that their strengths. Jeez, come on!
I know.
Praise God!
I know.
You gotta praise yourself out.
One of the strongest women I know, and I tell you what, I know loads and loads of women.
What you say here, I'm laughing because last night when we did the other video, you said, right, so what's anyway. You're starting to get emotional, and you didn't listen to me, so what am I doing? Right, anyway, number 7.
Number 7, support yourself.
Well, there you go. We've just talked about it, really, haven't we?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Praise yourself, support yourself, whatever that means. Hot bath, taking time out of work. And that's something I have to work with women, is giving yourself permission to actually rest. Men, I'm sure as well, they're no different. So for men, it's really about the same thing. It's acknowledging your feelings, acknowledging where you're at.
And supporting yourself in a bit of belief about yourself, supporting yourself to take a bit of control is what, because I was in a situation I was forced, I had to take control.
Yeah,
I had
absolutely.
to, you know, and that's what I love about things that I believe the universe sends us sometimes.
Absolutely.
Some ways you can't ignore, but you know, supporting yourself, even taking a little bit of control. Do you know that way?
Absolutely.
So number 8, be loving to your negatives.
And there's again we're on the thing, aren't we? What do you get?
No, be loving to your negatives. I'm saying to you now about the moving. I can't sit at peace. I'm sort of like, and that used to just, like I told you I was got in trouble for that. And I suppose it could be viewed as like a negative thing. I mean, attention, and it's like my memory and all that sort of stuff. To see the last couple of years, that's just who I am. Well, and I just don't care.
You see, there's a thing about negatives and positives, because a lot of, like, for addictions, example, addictions are a lot to do with addiction is about helping you survive. So we see them as things that are wrong, but actually without them, you maybe wouldn't be here. So if
I came to understand that, even thinking back, even when I was saying to you, like whenever I went to school, I was always getting in trouble for fidgeting and not sitting at peace and not paying attention and stuff like that. But the talks that we've had about that thing becoming like a safety thing and all that,
absolutely,
I can so see how that started back then, and then how I continued that on into adult life. Like.
And you know, and one word that we haven't talked on in a lot of our videos, and again, it's a big part of the work that I'm involved in, which is people's traumas. And a lot of people think trauma is, the massive, I don't know, the car accidents, the bombs, all that kind of stuff, deaths. But it's really a time in your life, to help people understand that. I always explain it as a time in your life when you didn't feel safe. And it could be from a small child where a door banged and you didn't understand why the door banged, right through to the tragedies, the attacks, the abuse, the harm. But when you understand that it's a time in your life when you didn't feel safe, from there you adopted behaviours, and from those behaviours brought you to survival.
And
So
exploring
it's
them,
been kinder.
I know, but
Kinder.
exploring them with you was like really tough, but also wonderful for me. It really was exploring that, and coming to understand it in that way. In that way as well. And I remember back then, when I started talking to you and always saying to you, I want to feel safe. Do you remember that? Even before we explored a lot of stuff, I was always saying, I don't feel safe. I want to feel safe.
I think that's most of our issues, to be honest. It's that, like, from what I do, I always start from the bit, well, there's been something that has rocked your world, and if we can get to find out what that is, then maybe we can build on it and build safe ground again. And I'm not going to take a while, but yeah. Okay.
Anyway, take care of your body.
I have to go to the light because I can't see none without my glasses. Take care of your body. Healthy, wealthy, not wealthy, healthy. Yeah, and every...
There's nothing wrong with being wealthy, like.
I suppose it's the physical, isn't it, and nutritional. And, there lies another story, because we could go on about that one, but we'll say it just what it is. Take care of your body. Do what you need to do to look after it. I suppose that you only get one. I need to listen to this, mind you, as I'm preaching it. I need to listen to this. Okay, next one.
Number 10, mirror work.
That's very much Louise Hay's work.
I remember you giving this to me.
Yeah. So Louise Hay's work is built on journal writing, talking about how you feel. It's based on beginning to look in a mirror, and I'm looking around me here because there's mirrors everywhere in here. But the idea of the mirror is that you can look in your own eyes and actually begin to see who you are, because quite often, especially for us women, it's mostly about doing our mascara, putting our makeup on, but we don't know.
You don't actually look at yourself, and I
eyes.
wasn't aware of that until you brought that to my attention. But you don't actually really. You're just looking at what you're doing. You're not actually really looking into yourself, really, isn't it?
So it's very much about beginning to look in the mirror, and you wouldn't believe how many people are horrified. Like I could be working with someone for months before they'll even try that.
Well, it was a long time before I could.
Yeah, and that's very natural. So sometimes it's about, well, looking in a mirror and saying, well, I'm willing to get to know you. You know, talk to yourself that way. Ultimately, it's looking in the mirror and saying, hey girl, you're looking pretty damn good today. You know, so it's all about the positive. That's okay. What's our next one, Shirley?
Love yourself. Do it now.
Yeah. Again, following on from the mirror, begin to look at yourself in the mirror and say, you are amazing. And if you can't say that, is I'm willing to believe that you're amazing. So it's all about, ultimately, if you can love yourself, you won't let anybody treat you. You know, you won't let them treat you wrong. You won't stay in an environment that's not good for you, because you start to realise that I'm worth it. I am worth it.
Can I want to say about the loving yourself, and it's not just like, just get up and love yourself. Do you know that way? That's a journey. It really is. Yeah. And it's a journey that takes a lot of work. It really does. And I think that if you're at a point in time, or you've got that wee hankering going on always, that you know that you're missing something, you'll find that you're missing yourself.
Oh God, yeah.
Completely disconnected and missing yourself. And to reconnect to yourself and learn to love yourself, I would suggest taking that up with someone like Debbie Mehaffy. Just to walk, just a bit of support there too, like, because that's a journey. That's a journey.
I suppose it goes back to that one of those, I can't remember what number it was, but we are often our worst critic. So that's where a coach or a counsellor can come in to help you see that actually a lot of maybe behaviours, how you're feeling about yourself, have been created from a place of not feeling safe, from harm, or from an experience that didn't serve you. And a lot of it, I believe, is about someone else helping you see the best person that you can possibly be, because you're already there. Nothing needs to be added. It's already there. It's just letting you see it. That's all. It's not like you know, coaching for me is not about putting something into you. Like when you and I have conversations, how could I be that good that I would be able to put something inside, plant something inside you to get you to think of it differently? No,
I think it's just I think it's just in the conversation and in the chat and in the words and in that sort of stuff. It's like always goes back to that Wayne Dyer quote, doesn't it?
If you change the
If
way
you
you
change the way you look at things,
the
the
things you look at change, and that includes your life.
And that's the space you hold. It's like
Yes, yes.
helping. It's like it's not even. It's like supporting someone to, you know, well, what would happen if we looked at this? Because that's what you would say to me. You know, if I'm talking about you about something, you would go to me. But what would happen if we could look at it like this? And usually the looking at it like this is something that hadn't even occurred to me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But that's true of us all.
So you were saying the other night the answers are already there.
They're already there.
The overthinking and all
Yeah,
that stuff just does that.
But you know, the easiest way to explain that is to think of a seed. So if we had a seed here right now, say we had a sunflower seed, there's nothing we can put into the sunflower seed to make it a sunflower. It's already there. All it actually needs is planted in the right conditions, which I believe is under counselling, life coaching.
I'm going to counselling phones there. I was going to look up a wee poem like about that. Just remember, sure.
So it's about planting the seed, giving it the right conditions for growth, and then when it's planted in the right conditions, you apply what it is to help it grow, which is love, which is care, which is nutrients. So that to me is what counselling and life coaching is about. It's about planting the seed in the right place and then make the conditions right. That's the simplest way to explain that. Right, where are we now?
It's number 12, and this is a rule that's a real favourite of mine and the children who use my workshops, because it's our first rule and it's also our last rule. We have it twice in our rules. Okay. So I think it should be this should
number
be 13. 1 as
well. Okay.
And it should go for number 1 and number 12. And number 12 is have fun.
Oh, bloody hell, absolutely.
So important to have fun. I never allowed myself to have fun for years.
Yeah.
I really didn't.
And I think that's what I'm really enjoying about Creative Conversations were. Because is there ever a time that we get together that one of us does something, but we always have
We'll go to drive to Ballybean, for example, and I'll have the car all packed, and we'll be outside. She'll drive down, we'll be outside my house, and I'll go to get out into the car that I've packed to drive us, and she'll be sitting in hers. Going, what am I doing? Why did I just get into my car?
My own car. Yeah, things like that. On that moment, we'll be back again soon.
Okay, guys. Thank you. Bye.